What's up, guys? Classy Metal here. It is Sunday, which means it's time to continue marching on through the CD collection. We are in the H section. It's also New Year's Day, so Happy New Year's to all you out there watching. I am always grateful for you. Thank you guys for sticking around through another year of this channel, and hopefully we have some great things on the horizon and coming. Just going to jump into this. As I said, we are still in the H section. We will be in the H's for a little bit. A lot of black metal in this portion of the CD collection. Not all of it. I mean, I'm not starting off with black metal, but there is a lot in this particular portion. First up, we have a band out of New York. This is Held Under with the Catastrophe of Creation. A lot of alliteration going on in there in that album title. Pretty good stuff. This has been out for quite some time. I believe it came out in 2006. This is the fourth full length. The band is no longer together. I believe this is the last full length that they put out. Pretty killer stuff. This is kind of progressive death metal fused with, there's some metalcore going on in this as well. I won this CD in a Facebook contest. In a collecting group that I was in when I was on Facebook many years ago. I won this. It's been quite some time ago. I'm still friends with the guy that I won this from. I won this in a bundle of some other CDs from bands, local bands to him that were out of the New York area. I think it was around the Albany, New York area. But good stuff here. I do like this one. Their other material is kind of hard to find. I don't even know if it's on physical formats, but that's a good solid album there. Next up, we have some black metal out of Russia, some folky black metal. Go figure, me owning a folky black metal release out of Russia. This is Hellengard with their self-titled, I believe this is their sophomore album. Was originally released in 2010. This is a reissue. I think this one came out in 2012 on Firestorm Records. Not exactly what you would expect going into something just knowing that it is a folk metal / black metal hybrid. It's got a pretty unique sound on this. I do like this. The female vocals on this I do enjoy. Don't know what they're singing. I mean, it's not in English, but I do like it. So good stuff there. Next up, we have this was a surprise to me. I got this in one of the Horror, Pain, Gore, Death grab bags. This is a black metal, I guess was a black metal project out of West Virginia. This is Hellguard with the Black Flame Descent. This was a pretty solid release. I mean, it is pretty ferocious black metal. You can kind of get, I mean, that album artwork there does this album justice. I believe this was their debut. They put out one album after this. This is the only one that I own. I think they were having lineup issues, and maybe it just became too much for the band to overcome. The guitarist actually left, I think, halfway through the recording of this debut album, so they had to bring in guest musicians and session musicians to fill in the gaps there. But they did a solid job. I mean, that is a solid debut album. Next up, two bands with the same name, and both out of Norway. First up, we have the more popular, I think, of these two bands. This is Helheim with my absolute favorite release of theirs, entitled Yersinia Pestis. This is kind of Viking themed black metal, that kind of Viking metal, black metal hybrid stuff out of Norway that you're all familiar with. This was released in 2003 on Massacre Records. This is like the essential Helheim release for me. This is the one that everyone should own. The follow-up to this was pretty solid as well. Those are the only two of the albums that I feel like are necessities. I do need to pick up the follow-up to this. This is the only one that I own from this band. Very slow getting on board with this, but I have liked everything that I've heard. Maybe at some point I will dig a little bit deeper and appreciate those other albums more and want to pick those up. But this one is definitely essential. I feel like this is one that you should have in the collection. Next up, this is another band named Helheim. They are also from Norway. This is an industrial black metal. Not something that you would think I would get into, but I do. Man, this EP is absolutely phenomenal. This is Helheim with Fenris. And it is industrial black metal, but it's done absolutely perfectly. Industrial sometimes can be a little much for me. You wouldn't know that just because I like industrial when it's mixed with something else, kind of like we got here. It seems to work a little bit better. in my personal opinion. But this is just some killer stuff. I absolutely love this. I think you guys should check it out. I don't think this band ever released any full lengths. This came out way back, 1996. Knew it had been out for quite some time. This may be the last release that they ever put out. I know there were some demos and EPs that they released, but they never released a full length. But this is absolutely phenomenal. If you can get your hands on a copy of this and you're into black metal, industrial black metal may intrigue you, definitely hunt that one down and get yourself a copy. Next up, we have a split CD. I got this out of a Metalhead box. I've had this for a little while now. It's 2 tracks, but both tracks are roughly about 8 to 9 minutes. You have Helja Madir and Elder. Helja Madir is Eric Wingback. I believe he's played with Gra and Dark Funeral at times. Then you have Elder on this. Pretty good. I think I may actually even like the Elder portion of this split a little bit better. I mean, it is only 2 tracks, so it's kind of a small sample size, but I do like everything on this. Just a nice little slab of black metal there as well. Next up, we have I forget where this band is from. I had it on the tip of my tongue, and it just completely left. This is Hell Spirit with their 2005 demo 1. Very campy looking stuff. You will see it's a very DIY made thing there. It's kind of thrashy black metal from what I remember. But I cannot remember for the life of me where this band, Finland, there we go, it was on the back. But pretty solid. I do like this. I received this in a VCLT package quite some time ago, and it was one of the standout releases that I got in that. I actually, with the whole DIY look going on, wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it prior to listening to it, and it definitely exceeded my expectations. Next up, we have some metalcore, taking a trip back in time. This came out in 2005. This is Hell Within with their, I believe this may be their debut album, Asylum of the Human Predator. I liked this one a lot when it came out. I was a little late getting to this. I didn't hear this back in 2005. I was a little late hearing this, but it had that kind of feel. It was still hanging on to that kind of very early 2000s sounding metalcore, which I did enjoy. And it had that little feel to it going on, and I could appreciate that. Killer stuff. It's got a DVD included with it. I have not listened to this in quite some time. I may revisit it now and be like, man, this is terrible. But for the time period that I was listening to this, I did enjoy it quite a bit. I also picked up their follow-up entitled Shadows of Vanity. Was not super impressed with this one. I believe this is the band's sophomore effort, and then they had a one more that came out after this that I have not checked out. I just kind of fell out of love with metalcore around this time period. Stuff like this kind of mediocrity sounding material kind of turned me off to the genre as a whole, and I just, I mean, you guys know you don't see a ton of it in the collection anymore. Next up, this is one that Rick sent me in a VCLT package. This is Hellfire with Free Again. This came out in 2017. Pretty good slab of heavy metal / speed metal. There's some thrash vibes going on this. Very solid. I did like this quite a bit. This was released through Writing Easy Records. It wasn't reinventing the wheel of those particular genres or anything, but it was very... It had the melodies, it had the riffs. I mean, it was a good. There was a lot for this band to build upon going forward. I didn't really check out any of their other material until this year. They had an album that came out this year entitled Reckoning that I do own, but it's with my, well, I guess last year now. Came out in 2022. It's with my 2022 releases. I have them filed separately until I do my end of the year list. But their newest release, Reckoning, man, that thing is a ripper. It was absolutely phenomenal. So definitely check out Hellfire if you have not done so. Next up, we have some black metal out of Atlanta, Georgia. This is Hellgoat with Infernal Zeal. This is a phenomenal album as well. The rest of the material that I've heard from this band is not good. but I don't know what they were on when they did this album because it's pretty solid. I like this quite a bit. This was released on Pale Horse Recordings. Been out for quite some time now. I've seen a few other people show this over the years as well, and they kind of be they're kind of in the same mindset as I am. As this is a pretty solid release. This was released in 2015, so it's been out quite some time. If you're going to check out for anything from Hellgoat, I would say go with this one. If you listen to something else, you will probably never revisit that band again. Next up, this is a band that I don't, for one reason or another, I just have a hard time getting into, and they are a classic band. I think I like the imagery that this band puts out more than I actually like their music. That almost sounds like blasphemy because I know a lot of people really love this band. This is Helloween with Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1. I don't know what it is. I've tried and tried and tried to get into this band, and I've got 3 of their CDs. I've had more than that in my possession, but I've sold the other ones that I've had. I just tried. This one I would say is probably my favorite release, but it's not even one that I find myself just returning to that often. I also picked up Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. I know I'll probably just I'll get like some auto dislikes for me. I'm not ragging on Halloween. I mean, there's no denying that, their staying power. These were released in the 80s, and they're still getting spun by people today. Their influence is definitely there, and there's so many people that just love this band. I don't know what it is for me that I just can't get into them. And then I have Better Than Raw. This one I liked it too for what it is. I like this almost as much as the Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1, but that's the only ones that I've really just, these 3 are the only 3 that I've really just been able to tolerate. I had their newest release. I heard so many praises and people singing the praises of the self-titled, and I got it, and when I first listened to it on first spin, I mean, it was okay, and each time I kept returning to it, it just sounded like a jumbled mess to me. There was so much going on, and it just, I don't know. I mean, I ended up selling it or I got rid of it one way or another, but yeah, that's all I've got for Halloween. Next up, a band that I was kind of slow getting into, and now I'm wanting to pick up. I think they have one other full length besides this one, and then one coming out the first part of this year. This is Hell Ripper with their second album entitled The Affair of the Poisons. This was released on Peaceville Records. It's still got this little cardboard thing. It's taped on there, so I just kind of left it there because it's a neat looking thing. The kind of blackened speed metal, blackened heavy metal. Got some thrash elements going on. Absolutely phenomenal. The fact that it's a one-person project, he's able to pull this off quite phenomenally. He is definitely super talented. I want to go back and grab that first album, and then I'll be prepared for the album that comes out this year. The Black Arts and Alchemy EP, that's another one that I want to pick up as well because that one was solid. But The Affair of the Poisons, I absolutely love this album. So next up, we have some more black metal. Go figure. This is the black metal project of Chris from Becoming Ock. He's in this black metal project as well. This is a 2019 EP. It's listed as an EP, but I know that this runs for over 30 minutes. This is Hellthorn with Crimson Frost and Bloodstained Oak. It's just in this little cardboard sleeve. I think this was thrown in as a freebie with another order. I think I ordered some Becoming Ock material, and this was thrown in for me in that order. But it's pretty solid. I do like this. I'm kind of interested to see where this project goes moving forward because it is still a thing going on. Next up, we have a band out of Memphis. This is their debut full length. They had an EP that came out prior to this. This is Hell Thrasher with Into the Flesh. There's definitely some crusty, it's kind of a thrash metal, obviously, with the name Hell Thrasher. There's some crust metal going on. There's some death metal going on at times in this as well. Pretty solid. I haven't just returned to this as much as I thought I would, but I try to support a lot of the bands that I hear and I enjoy coming out of Memphis. And this one is no different. I haven't heard anything from this band in quite some time, though, so hopefully they're still around doing stuff, because I did enjoy this, and I would like to see where they go moving forward. I think this came out 2020-ish, sometime around there, so hopefully there's something in the works, and we'll hear some more from Hell Thrasher moving forward. You make me some room, and we'll finish off this stack here. Next up, a band out of Hell's Headbangers Records. This is Helvatron with Death of okay, I can't read it, so hold on. Death Scroll of Seven Hells and its Infernal Majesties. All right, let me try that again. This is Helvatron with Death Scroll of seven. Is it bells or hells? I'm going to say Death Scroll of Seven Hells and its Infernal Majesties. There we go. This is black/thrash, not thrash, black/doom. I guess black and doom death is a way. I mean, the black metal is definitely prevalent, but there's like a heavy doom death vibe going on in this as well. It's pretty good. I haven't listened to it as much as I should. I haven't listened to it in a little bit. I definitely need to return to this. I will probably have this pulled to the side to listen to it here again in the very near future. You'll probably see this get posted up on the Instagram at some point in the near future. For everything that I remember, I do dig this quite a bit. In my head, it's got this like blackened death doom, or blackened doom death vibe going on. But as far as I know, this is a pretty solid release. I do have fun. Like, I look at it and I have fond memories for it. I just don't, like, the memories are fuzzy, so I need to refresh myself on that one. Next up, we have some more black metal. This is a band out of Chicago. This is Hellwolf with a Worship of Anxiety. Worship of Anxiety. Let me take a drink. My throat is messing up and I'm stumbling over my words. Worship of Anxiety is a very, very fitting name for this album. I believe this is the debut. I think they have 2 albums out. This is like chaotic black metal, and there's some crazy stuff going on. I don't want to say experimental black metal, but it's definitely different. First time I listened to this, I was kind of not sure how I felt about it, but the more that I kind of gave it a chance and listened to it, it started growing on me, and it's some definitely it could be some anxiety inducing stuff. It's so out there, but I do like that. So next up, it feels like I just name dropped this dude in so many videos. I think this was one that Rick sent me in a VCLT as well. I know I got it in a VCLT, so if it wasn't Rick and it was somebody else, I do apologize, but I think he may be the one that sent me this as well. And I can honestly say I did not know of this band before then, and I'm kind of ashamed of it. This came out, I think, in 1990, and this is just a kind of technical death metal, thrashy death metal masterpiece. This is Hell Witch with Syzygial Miscreancy. Yeah, try saying that about 4 or 5 times fast. This is phenomenal. Definitely well ahead of its time when it came out, and it is very stellar. I find myself pulling this one off and listening to it quite often. And it was the only album that this band had out for about 30 years. They had a reunion kind of album that came out in, I think, 2009. I do not have that one, but at some point I would like to hear that. I haven't even listened to that reunion album to see if it kind of stacks up with this release. Probably not, because this is just absolutely phenomenal, but I do want to hear. I am intrigued to see kind of where they came back and what they put out. So, killer stuff right there. Everybody has I mean, whether they admit it or not, everybody has some skeletons in their collection closet. This is one that I kind of laugh at when I look at, but I'm doing full discretion in these videos. I'm not leaving stuff out just because I'm embarrassed about it or whatever. But we have Hell Yeah with their debut full length. This came out 2007, and I can honestly say I have not listened to this album since I became sober. So back then, I mean, when the alcohol was flowing and you were in an inebriated state of mind, this is some groove metal that you could put on, and it's just, it is what it is. I mean, the song Alcohol and Ass is on here, and it is the only release from Hell Yeah that I do own. If I hadn't got in that stack of replacement jewel cases, this would still be in a busted case, because I was getting down to the point where I was only replacing stuff that I really liked if the cases were busted, but now I have a nice stack of replacement cases. So I went ahead, out of nostalgia's sake, and replaced the case on this because it was busted up. But yeah, there's Hell Yeah with their debut full length, and I spent way more time on that album than I ever should have. Next up, we have some Italian death metal. Kind of totes the line into melodic death metal at times. This is Hellslave with their EP entitled Divination. Pretty solid stuff. They had a full length that came out. It was last year, I keep saying last year. It was 2021 or 2020, sometime around there. Their full length came out. I still need to get my hands on this one. On that one. This EP came out, I'm wanting to say roughly 2017. For some reason that date, I don't see a date on here, but that's what's in my head. I got this through Metalhead Box, so it was probably later than 2017. I don't know. But it was released through Black Market Metal label. I used to find some killer material through Black Market Metal label, and it's a label I haven't kept up with. They're kind of hard to keep up with it sometimes as well, because they don't update their website and all that good stuff. But killer Italian death metal there. Next up, this is a thrashy death metal album that came out in 2011, and I think if this came out like today, people would be screaming its praises. It has that sound that has been in such a resurgence for probably the last 3 or 4 years, and this would have fit right into that. This is Hemoptysis with Misanthropic Slaughter. Absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. This may be my favorite album that I've shown in this entire portion of the CD collection. This is amazing stuff. I will probably listen to this today as well. I know I'm going to pull that Helvetron out and give it a spin. This one will probably get set to the side and listen to, because I've kind of neglected it for a little bit, but this is absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't checked this one out and you're into that thrashy style of death metal, do yourself a favor and check this one out, because I believe you will love it. Next up, some more death metal. This is off of the Unspeakable Acts / Dark Descent Records kind of joint releases. This is Hemotoxin with Biological Enslavement. Technical death metal, also has some thrashy elements going on. Absolutely phenomenal. This album is flawless. I love this one. It's definitely my favorite release that Hemotoxin has put out. This came out in 2016, so it's been out for a little bit, but phenomenal release there. And then I have the follow-up to that entitled Restructure the Molded Mind, also from Unspeakable Acts and Dark Descent. Killer stuff here. It also includes, it has the full length, and then it has their Alchemist EP included on this disc as well. The full length is good. This one came out in 2020. This one's good. The Biological Enslavement, man, that album just blew me away the first time I listened to it, and every time I return to it, I still have that same feeling. So, some more black metal. This is a band called Host, and this is a self-titled. I don't really have a ton to say about this one. The vocals on this can be a little off-putting at times. Sometimes that is. I mean, I guess with any musical genre that can be a thing, but black metal, I mean, it seems like black metal is one of those where it could be make or break for me as far as the vocals. But all in all, I do like this. It's just sometimes that the vocal and the lyrical approach to this can be a little bit too much. Next up, we have I believe this band is I think this is some Chilean black metal. This is Henosis with Unleash the Ophidian Essence from the Reverse of Creation. This is solid. I don't know if this band has any more full lengths out or not. I've kind of lost keeping up with them. I need to go check that out because I was really into this full length. I wouldn't come out and say it has that. It's not war metal, but it has that primitive, primal, just sound going on to this. It's some really awesome black metal. I do like this one. And then the last one for this video is a very early. I don't know how long Transcending Obscurity Records has been around, but this has to be one of their earlier releases in the. This is number 16. This is the 16th release that they put out. This has been out for a little bit. This is Henry Kane with an album that is not in English. I'll let you. Maybe the camera will pick that up. There you go. Where you can. Well, now it's blurry again. Maybe you can read that. I believe the band's out of Finland. This. Just looking at that. You would think that that's some kind of metalcore or deathcore or something along those lines. This is like crust metal with death grind going on. This is much better than I anticipated this being, just from the looks of it. I did kind of a blind buy on this online on eBay. I think it was that I purchased this. I was like, I'll give it a shot. It's Transcending Obscurity. And I listened to it, and I was absolutely floored with this. This was way better than I ever anticipated it being. I believe this is the band's first full length, and then they have one more after this, but it is the only one that I own. That's all I've got for this video. As I said earlier, I hope you guys have a happy new year, and I will see you guys soon. I'm going to start working on the album of the year video. Hopefully I'll have that up within the next week or two. So that's all I've got for today. If nothing else, I will see you guys next week for another installment of the CD collection. Stay classy, stay metal, and I will see you guys soon. I promise.